than 24 hours, Nigeria will be 64. That's October 1st. At 64, many will say Nigeria has made great strides. For others, much still needs to be done. Any side of the divide you stand, one thing is unimpeachable. There are positives to celebrate. However, the issue of national development, unarguably, is a collective one, and all segments of the society must contribute in achieving this goal. This brings us to the issue of youth participation in national development. And Panorama today beams its discourse in this direction. So stay back and join the conversation as we count down to Nigeria at 64. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated Kudirat Kekereekun as Chief Justice of Nigeria. The inauguration follows the confirmation of her nomination by the Senate. We'll bring you the details in subsequent bulletin. In other news, the federal government has handed over 64 to 100 and different other capacity compressed natural gas buses to the organized labor and student unions. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, accompanied by other ministers at the handover, says the deployment of the CNG buses is in line with President Tinubu's promise to retool Nigeria's economy into a sustainable path of progress. Deborah Balabobo reports.
Promised and delivered. That symbolizes the handover of CNG buses to representatives of Labour and Students' Union. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, reiterates government's commitment to ensure the availability of CNG buses to not only Nigerian workers but to other members of the public. Beyond implementing the policy on transition from fossil fuel to cleaner energy, bringing down cost of transportation and enhancing energy competitiveness are other benefits the minister cited.
Over $175 million of worth of investment has gone into this sector already. We expect to see more of that. Nigerians expect to go in. More and more Nigerians, technicians especially, are being trained. So it's a whole gamut of arrangement that will benefit all spheres of all sectors of this country. All Nigerians will be felt. This is beginning from those who need the most, the working class. The working class are going to get this. But beyond that, other Nigerians are also going to be the market people. Everyone, artisans, everybody will now feel this impact.
The promise he made is to intervene on the side of the poor and the most vulnerable in the aftermath of what we all knew were necessary macroeconomic reforms to set the country on the path of economic stability that would allow investment.
Mr. President is leading us to do what is sensible. What you are blessed with, what is cheaper, use it. Any mechanical device, motor, generator, irrigation facility that uses petrol can run on CNG. So this is a sensible transition that is led by Mr. President. We have talked about it for decades, but Mr. President is saying, let's do it.
Representatives of the union expressed satisfaction over various endeavors by government to cushion the plight of Nigerians occasioned by global economic challenges.
This step forward brings us closer to a future where both workers and the planet benefit from such forward-thinking policies, which is commendable.
As a representative of over 40 million Nigerian students, today we are happy that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have kept to his promise.
I want to believe that it's just the takeoff, that clearly we will get more buses.
This is the first in series of such initiatives lined up by government towards the implementation of the policy. In Abuja, Deborah Balagubo, NTA News.
Well, the renewed hope initiative of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has once again put smiles on the faces of petty traders in Rivers State, as she flagged off the Economic Empowerment Recapitalization Grant for 1,000 women in the state. Osinachi Samuel reports that the gesture is in collaboration with the office of the wife of Rivers State Governor, Lady Valerie Fubara, who also represented her at the event.
God will bless her, give her long life.
The Renewed Hope initiative of the First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has continued to impact the livelihood of women across the country. The flag off of the Renewed Hope initiative Economic Empowerment Program is providing recapitalization grants of 50,000 naira each for 1,000 women petty traders in Rivers State. The initiative, which is in partnership with the office of the wife of the Rivers State Governor, Lady Fubara, is restoring hope of women and empowering them to be financially stable.
We recognize that empowering women economically is not just a moral imperative, but a strategic one. When women thrive, their families thrive. And by extension, our communities and nation prosper.
I want to thank Her Excellency Senator Tinubu, and also by extension thank our mother, the state mother that is here, Dame Valerie, for always consistently thinking of us.
These beneficiaries are at the heart of our local economies in the 23 local government areas, including non-indigenous and NCWS of our state. And I am satisfied that these grants will help them re-energize their petty businesses.
The event also featured presentation of exercise books to the Commissioner of Education, Dr. Ovi Chukuma, for onward distribution to public schools in Rivers State. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
A special church service to mark Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary has resonated more messages of hope for Nigerians, projecting that the nation will in not distant time surmount all her socio-economic challenges. Kenneth Nanim reports that top government functionaries, including former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, attended the church program. Let's see that.
The 64th Independence Anniversary Special Church Service is one characterized by praise and worship and thanksgiving unto God. Scripture readings from the books of Isaiah 43 verse 16 through 21 and Philippians 3 verse 12 through 16 encouraged the congregation and indeed other Nigerians not to be deterred in the fight of faith, believing that God will change Nigeria's current socio-economic situation for the better. Now comes the message of hope from the Archbishop of Abuja Methodist Church of Nigeria, Most Reverend Michael Akinwale. He urges Nigerians to be persistent in doing good as God will exalt the nation Nigeria.
I have a dream that one day unemployment will disappear from our land. I have a dream that in this country the issue of lamentation, sorrow and anguish will disappear from our land.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, pointed to several policies and programs of the federal government geared towards economic recovery, job creation, and empowerment of citizens.
There is hope. I have a dream too, that this country, and as well, is going to be the most blessed, the most successful, the most prosperous in Africa and the world.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, also enumerated a number of bills passed by the National Assembly in support of government policies and programs, including the Southeast Development Commission Bill.
Undoubtedly, the Nigerian nation is defined by resilience. To the challenges of modern-day governance, we have continually shown our indomitable spirit as Nigerians.
The church service offers prayers for the leadership of Nigeria and for prosperity of all countrymen and the nation at large.
Jesus, happy birthday to Nigeria.
Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Happy birthday in advance to Nigeria. So let's expand the discourse talking about youth participation in national development, especially as we turn 64, talking about Nigeria. Come tomorrow. We have a guest in the studio, Mr. Samuel Chukwu. He's a legal practitioner and a public affairs expert. Mr. Chukwu, thank you for joining us on Panorama.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me, and happy independence anniversary to Nigerians.
Happy independence to you in advance.
Thank you.
All right, Nigeria will turn 64. Of course, expectations are high, but let's put the spotlight on the youth. If we want our nation to grow, of course, looking at the demography of the youth in Nigeria, would you say that the youths are, well utilized to, make that change for nation building?
Thank you very much, Ruth, for that very, very important question. You see, we're at a pivotal state of our national history. 64 years is not a mean achievement in terms of chronology. However, what we'll be judged by is not the number of years we have lived as a nation, but how we have impacted the lives of our citizenry. I would like to quote the words of the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, when he stated explicitly that citizens of America, as at that time, should ask not what America could do for them, but what they could do for America. And the truth is, because we're at a pivotal state of our national history, the youths of this nation, even though, yes, we're right in demanding from our country, we should also look inwards and see how we can be of value to Nigeria, because this relationship cannot be parasitic, it must be symbiotic.
I like that, and I was actually having a conversation behind cameras with some of my colleagues here, and we're just talking about how change begins with you as an individual and not waiting for that, whatever you want to see happen in governance. Talking about that change, attitudinal change, that's the information. They say information is power. That's the, spread we need at this critical time, especially as we're celebrating independence. What measures should be put in place to ensure that youths understand their civic rights and why they need to be patriotic to their nation?
Very well. The truth is this. Citizens are not wrong to demand a level of accountability, because if you look at the social contract theory, citizens give up certain rights in exchange for other benefits. It's meant to be a balance. However, the reason why we're emphasizing the role of youth is that if you check the history of nations that have developed, these were nations where the youths decided that they had a role to play. And I'm not just talking of criticizing the government. It was Theodore Roosevelt that said, it is not the critic who counts or the one that says where the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man in the arena. And I'm saying it to youths like myself that we must be ready to get into the arena. And I know the question will be asked, how can we get into the arena? We must participate in the process of governance. We owe it to our own generation. If you look at, I love to quote history a lot because it was Bob Marley that stated that those that forget where they are coming from would not know where they're going to. So it's important for us to see that nations that have risen from the ashes, like the mythological bird Phoenix, are those nations where the youths have decided that they have a role to play in nation building, and not just to serve as critics of the government of the day, but participating in the process of governance at every level possible.
And talking about governance, on the flip side, would you say youths are, well-grounded in participating in politics, because that's where it starts? You want to make a change in governance, you have to start quite early, right? They say give them, or rather catch them young.
True.
Are youths really, I'm seeing some show interest, but would you say there's an enabling environment for their desires to thrive?
In terms of the environment, we understand that the political landscape of our beloved nation is challenging. But if my understanding of life is correct, I believe that every challenge bears its seeds of opportunity. And there's a plant in the desert called the cactus. Where other plants have refused to grow, that cactus has thrived. And I'm someone that believes so much in the ability of the Nigerian youth. Look at the history books, look at the world records. It tells you there's something about the Nigerian spirit. And of course, if the opportunity is given, Nigerian youth will thrive. However, because my primary constituency are the youths, I will tell them this as I speak to myself. We must not wait for the environment to be an enabling one. God has given us the ability to ensure that in our own little corner, we can start the seeds of national change that would become a forest for Nigerians to thrive and bloom, even when things are not as we want them to be.
And it takes us back to charity, that they say begins at home.
Yes.
The kind of values, children are being, taught in their homes. What kind of, when you're looking at the value system of our country today, do we still have those values, or are they eroding?
If we're to be honest with ourselves, we know that things are not as we want them to be. However, I am not a blind optimist. But the truth is, my parents did a very good job with me when I was very young. They gave me an enabling environment to empower myself with the requisite knowledge.
We can see that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right.
And the truth is this. We have various agents of socialization, starting from the family, which is the basic unit, to religious institutions, and to the media. And I must say, a very commendable job that the NTA is doing.
Thank you.
The truth is this. Irrespective of our backgrounds, wherever we may have come from, irrespective of our political inclinations or ideological dispositions, we can make Nigeria what we want it to be. I like to cite the example of African countries like Rwanda that have changed within a generation. I want to cite examples of the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, as we like to call it. These are countries that have changed within a generation. Indonesia. It was Abraham Lincoln that stated that the fact that others have achieved great success is proof that others can achieve it as well. So if people in those political dispensations could transform their nation, we need to learn what they did and apply the principles that can be applied to our own peculiarities. My name is not Jeremiah, so I'm not going to be a prophet of doom. But I'm not also going to be a blind optimist. One thing I can say for sure is that if we arm ourselves with the requisite knowledge, with the skills of leadership, we can move Nigeria forward, if only we dare to believe that it can happen in our generation. And I believe it will happen.
Indeed, it will happen. And when you talked about those principles, some just came to my mind. Love for one another, sacrifice, and of course, patriotism. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Chukwu. He's a legal practitioner and of course, a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on Panorama.
Thank you for having me, and Nigeria will be great again.
Indeed. And at this point, let's ponder on those thoughts. Don't you think so? Let's take a break. Thank you for staying tuned to the dial. The National Orientation Agency is sensitizing the public, especially those in flood-prone areas, on precautionary measures to be taken against the impending flood alert warning by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. This is against the backdrop of the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. The advocacy was during a media and stakeholders engagement in Lafia. Belkisu Umar Gurku reports that the Director General of NOA was represented.
It could be recalled that the Cameroonian authorities informed Nigeria through the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency that the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon is overflowing and could cause significant flooding and environmental damage in the country. It is against that backdrop that the National Orientation Agency is creating awareness, alerting people, especially states on the front line, which include Nasarawa, on measures to be taken to avoid loss of lives and property.
The Lagdo Dam in Cameroon is increasing on a daily basis. So there is the need for us to go around and sensitize our people.
In her address, State Director of the agency, Priscilla Gondwalo, disclosed that in the year 2022, 145,000 people were displaced from 95 communities in 11 local government areas of the state. For that reason, the agency will continue to sensitize the citizens of the state with the urgency it requires to avoid such reoccurrence. Areas prone to flood in Nasarawa state include Tunga, Rukubi, Loko, Udenigida, Umasha, among others. The theme is Flood Safety Alert. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Gurku, NTA News.
Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has requested well-wishers to refrain from placing congratulatory adverts to him on the pages of newspapers, TV stations or any other paid platform for his birthday on October 1st. The Speaker enjoins anyone planning to do so to channel the resources towards other causes in the society, such as assisting the needy. He calls for prudent management of scarce resources, considering the current socio-economic situation in the country. Let's look at issues around inclusivity. The Beyond Disability project is set to transform Nigeria, creating over 36,000 job opportunities for persons with disabilities and fostering an inclusive society where everyone thrives. Gofan Shaji Ongwai reports that the initiative will bring economic empowerment, social integration, and equal access to opportunities.
It's all about movement, it's all about skills development, create talent among persons with disability. And we are going to create 36,551 job opportunities across the state. So you have a very strong mandate to deliver. And we are optimistic, we have confidence in you that you are going to deliver.
Appointed state coordinators will spearhead this transformation and oversee talent development initiatives, connect persons with disabilities with opportunities, and ensure project initiatives are executed with precision.
That we are 100% behind you. The Beyond Disability project is not just a state project. It's actually a national project and as well as international project.
I was so happy that there will be a lot of talent, a lot of skill acquisitions that will elevate these persons with disability from the state so that they will have a sense of belonging.
Through collaboration, transparency, and accountability, the Beyond Disability project paves the way for a brighter future, ensuring no one is left behind. And talking about leaving no one behind, across Nigeria, a vibrant community of over 3 million deaf individuals strive for equal access and opportunity. For them, sign language is more than just a means of communication. It is a lifeline to education, employment, and social inclusion. Gofan Shaji Ungwai sheds light on this community's quest for awareness and recognition.
Sign language has a rich history tracing back to ancient civilizations. With over 300 distinct sign languages worldwide, Nigerian Sign Language emerged in the 1960s, blending local gestures and American Sign Language elements. Nigerian Sign Language is integral to deaf identity, self-expression, and cultural heritage. However, Nigerians' deaf community faces daunting challenges. Limited access to education, healthcare, and employment restricts their participation. Scarcity of trained interpreters and inadequate resources worsens isolation and marginalization.
When I go to the hospital as a mother who is pregnant and wants to deliver, I need to communicate with the doctor. How will I do that? It's a challenge for me. I will need an interpreter, and hospitals doesn't really have interpreters. Many televisions that are talking about news and happenings in the society, you don't have captions. And that excludes the deaf people from the society. And it is important for us to be able to really recognize the deaf people in society and bring everyone along. Our hope is on access to jobs, access to health.
Sign language interpreters, we are also demanding that the government should recognize sign language interpreters as professionals because the work is a professional work and it demands a lot of responsibility on sign language interpreters. Interpreters in the court, for example, if you are not well trained or certified and you go to the court system and the deaf person is jailed because of wrong interpretation, you can see how that can have effects.
And by recognizing Nigerian Sign Language as a valuable asset, it will unlock deaf citizens' potential, foster inclusivity, diversity, and social cohesion. In Abuja, Gofan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
Let us continue to work together to promote inclusivity for everyone. I wish I can do that in sign language, actually. But that's Panorama. Thank you for your time. I'm Ruth Agowele.